Today, we're jumping into something that, well, it affects all of us, doesn't it? Money.
It really does.
But it often feels like this secret code, something we're just supposed to figure out.
Right.
So we're not just talking about making money, but really getting fluent in its language. We've got some fantastic sources today, really practical stuff, some surprising ideas from a top entrepreneur and investor. Our goal here, pretty simple. Give you a kind of shortcut to financial literacy, help you figure out today's, let's face it, kind of weird economic climate, challenge some old beliefs, and, help you make smarter choices for your own financial journey.
Yeah, it's interesting how we often see money as this separate thing, almost like an adversary sometimes.
Totally.
Instead of seeing it as a system, a system with rules. And once you understand those rules, well, you can start using them to your advantage.
Okay.
So we'll be digging into how to actually speak the language of money, looking at everything from like basic tools everyone should know to more complex investment ideas, and even how money plays into, our relationships, our careers. It's all connected.
Okay, let's start right there then. Why is learning this language, speaking money, so critical, especially right now?
Well, our sources have a great analogy for this.
Yeah.
Think of it like learning Spanish. You can't really connect. You can't win at that relationship, as they put it, if you don't speak the same language. And this goes way beyond just, balancing a checkbook like maybe we learned in high school.
Right. That feels pretty outdated now.
It is. It's about real fluency. Which kind of begs the question, how financially literate are most people, really?
Good question.
One quick test our sources mentioned is just understanding the basic difference between a debit card and a credit card.
Okay. Seems simple enough.
You'd think so.
Oh.
But crucially, also understanding why you should almost never use that debit card.
Whoa. Okay. Now that sounds wrong to a lot of people, right? We hear credit cards are bad all the time.
Exactly. It's a common myth.
Credit means debt. Debt is bad. Avoid.
That's the conditioning. But here's the thing. Our sources really hammer home. Credit cards, if you use them responsibly.
Big if for some.
Huge if means paying off the balance every single month, avoiding those crazy interest rates, using them for needs, not just wants.
Got it.
Then they actually become a foundational tool for building wealth.
How so?
They build your credit score.
Yeah.
And your credit score, that's like the bedrock of financial opportunity in places like the U.S. Getting a car, an apartment, a mortgage. It all hinges on credit.
And debit cards?
Debit cards do none of that. No credit building. Usually no perks, no points. And get this, way less fraud protection.
Really? I didn't realize that part.
Oh, yeah. One source shared a story about moving from the UK, where credit scores weren't such a big deal, to the US, and bam, suddenly realized they couldn't do basic things like rent an apartment easily without building that US credit history first. It was a shock.
Wow. Okay. So it's not about avoiding debt entirely, but understanding good debt versus bad debt.
Precisely. You look at someone like Warren Buffett, hugely successful investor, right?
Sure.
He's described as highly levered, means he uses a lot of borrowed money, but he uses it on assets, things that make money, not on personal guarantees for, fancy cars or stuff that loses value. It's debt to make more money.
Leverage.
Exactly. And our sources even suggest, you can start teaching this early. Get your kids a credit card, obviously with tight supervision.
Yeah, teach them the ropes.
Yeah. Help them build that resource pile, that credit worthiness early on.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Thinking about the economy now, a lot of us feel like, now is just not a great time to make money. You see the headlines.
Oh, yeah, the doom and gloom.
You read the articles, and the instinct is kind of, maybe I should just wait this out, wait till things get better. Is that just noise, or is there something to it?
Well, but first off, let's acknowledge that feeling is real. People are struggling. Our sources point out wages have been pretty flat for decades, right?
Feels that way.
While housing costs, through the roof. They gave an example. Maybe wages doubled in someone's working life, but housing costs went up 9 times.
9 times. Wow.
Yeah. So the old rules, the things that worked for, say, Dave Ramsey's generation, they just don't map onto today's reality. That feeling of it being harder, it's valid.
Okay, so it is harder, but does that difficulty also maybe create opportunity?
Bingo. That's the counterintuitive part. Back to Warren Buffett again.
His famous quote.
Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful.
Right.
Our sources are saying, look around. Things are starting to go on sale.
Meaning
assets are getting cheaper. They mentioned housing prices in Austin, for example, being down like 30% from their peak.
Okay, that's significant.
It is. And then there's that really intense quote from Baron Rothschild.
Oh, I know this one. Blood on the streets.
That's the one. Buy when there's blood on the streets, even and especially when the blood is your own.
Powerful. A bit grim, but powerful.
It captures the idea perfectly.
Yeah.
Think about remember the NFT craze?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Crazy money.
Right. An NFT sold for $60 million at the peak. Now, our sources say it's worth maybe $19,000.
Ouch.
Big ouch. But it shows how in tough times, assets can become seriously underpriced. That's the opportunity for those who are brave enough or prepared enough.
Okay, so bringing this down to earth. What does this mean for big life goals like owning a home? Should we still be chasing that American dream?
This is a big one. Our sources argue that mathematically, for the first time in a long while, owning a home as an investment isn't always the smartest move.
Really? Why?
Look at the numbers. Interest rates hovering between 5 and 8%. A huge housing shortage pushing prices up. Wages basically flat. The math just isn't mathing, as they put it.
Yeah, I get that.
So choosing to rent right now, that might actually be the financially savvy move. You might even be able to negotiate your rent down because there's often an excess supply in certain rental markets.
So don't beat yourself up if you're renting.
Exactly. Don't let those old ideas make you feel like you're failing. The game has changed. The market is fundamentally different.
Okay. Let's talk about building something. Maybe you're dreaming of starting a business, but the first thought is, I just don't have the money.
Our sources push back on that.
Hard. They say you don't suffer from a lack of money. You suffer from a lack of knowledge on how to get the money.
Interesting distinction.
Think about it. The wealthiest people, they rarely use only their own money. That's not how big things get built.
So where does the money come from?
There are amazing resources out there. The Small Business Administration, the SBA, they offer grants. That's money you literally don't have to pay back.
Free money. Sounds good.
Well, you have to qualify, but yes. And loans, too. SBA loans can cover up to 90% of the purchase price of an existing business.
90%?
Yeah. And there are other platforms, like Percent.com mentioned in the sources, that help small businesses find debt financing. The whole point is shifting your mindset away from, I have to fund this all myself.
Right. Okay, so you find the funding.
Yeah.
What about actually starting it? A lot of people romanticize quitting their job, going all in on the side hustle. Is that smart? The data says probably not. At least not right away.
Oh.
Get this. 90% of startups fail within 5 years. 90%.
Wow, that's sobering.
It is. So the smartest advice, keep your day job, do it well, use that salary, that stability to fund your side hustle.
Okay.
Only make the leap when your side hustle's cash flow consistently covers your living costs. Don't jump too soon.
Why is that so much better?
Well, studies show you have a 33% higher chance of your startup succeeding if you keep that income stream.
33%, why?
Because you make better decisions when you're not stressed about paying rent next month. You're not making choices out of panic.
That makes sense. Creating from passion, not panic.
Exactly that. Are you building something because you love it or because you're desperate? Big difference in outcome.
Okay, let's stick with careers for a minute. What makes someone a truly great CEO, according to our sources, and maybe more relevant for many listeners, how can employees make more money where they are?
Great CEOs do a few key things well. They sell a big, compelling dream or vision. They're really good at accurately diagnosing what's happening in the market. And then, crucially, they execute. They make great decisions.
Vision, diagnosis, execution. Got it. What about for the rest of us, the employees?
First step, figure out your actual dollar value to the company, like specifically.
How do you do that?
Ask your boss directly. Something like, how do I specifically make this company money or save this company money?
Okay, that takes some guts.
It does. But once you know that, you can figure out how to do more of it. Increase that value, then you quantify it.
Quantify it, like put a number on it.
Exactly. I brought in X dollars in sales, or my process change saved Y dollars. Then you go back and negotiate your salary based on that proven value you created.
So if you helped make a $100 sale and the company profits $20,
you can make a case for getting a piece of that $20 you generated. It's logical. It's data-driven.
That makes sense. And our sources also mentioned that sticking with a company and growing strategically, that might be better than job hopping now.
Yeah, that's a shift. The old advice was maybe jump jobs every couple of years for a raise. But now the data suggests that strategic growth within a company, showing loyalty but also actively increasing your value, can lead to bigger raises like 25 to 50% higher over time than constant hopping.
Interesting. I've heard this idea framed as going from being a bricklayer to a city planner in your role, expanding your scope, thinking more strategically. Does that connect?
Absolutely love that analogy, yeah. Our sources talk about it like climbing an NPC ladder.
NPC, like in a video game, non-player character.
Exactly. You don't want to be a background character just taking orders. You want to become a main character who actually shapes the story, who sees problems and drives the strategy to fix them.
So proactively identifying issues and solutions.
Yes. And it's also on leadership, right? If good employees leave, it often means leadership failed to show them a clear path to become that main character, to grow and have bigger impact.
This kind of blows up that old idea. Just work hard and you'll get rich. What do our sources say about pure hard work?
It's largely a myth, especially now with AI. Think about it.
What?
The person running a corner laundromat works incredibly hard, right? Long hours, physical labor.
Definitely.
But Jeff Bezos reportedly makes millions per second. It's not just about hours worked. Hard work alone doesn't scale like that.
So what does scale?
With AI taking over a lot of the mid-level execution tasks, success is shifting towards unique knowledge, creativity, strategic thinking, and working smart. Naval Ravikant calls it working like a lion, intense sprints, then rest and recovery.
Not like a cow.
Right, not just continuously grazing, working constantly, but maybe inefficiently. Sprint, rest, analyze, sprint again.
Okay. What about another popular idea, passive income? Is that real or another myth?
Mostly myth, or at least misleading. Our sources say passive income is often more of a tax term than a reality.
Meaning?
The dream of set it and forget it money with zero effort and zero risk. Pretty much a lie.
But what about things like vending machines? People always use that example.
Sure, but even vending machines need stocking, maintenance, repairs, collecting money. It's not truly passive. There's work involved.
So why do people chase it so hard?
Often it's because they dislike their active work. Something like 87% of Americans don't love their jobs, right?
That's a huge number.
So they dream of passive income as an escape. But the real goal, our sources argue, should maybe be finding active work you actually enjoy. Learning to love the game of business or your career.
Love the game, not just chase a passion that might not pay.
Exactly. There's a difference between a hobby you love and a skill the market will pay for. Think about actors versus finance professionals. The odds of making a great living are vastly different, even if the passion is equal. Distinguish hobbies from skills.
Okay, so how do you learn to love the game and actually succeed?
Obsession often beats raw talent or IQ. Think Steve Jobs and Wozniak back in their Atari days, they were obsessed.
Okay.
And to love the game, you have to respect the rules. Like playing Monopoly, you can't win if you just sit there complaining the rules aren't fair.
Right, you got to play by the rules that exist.
Yeah, become a fixer, not a freeloader.
Yeah.
See, problems not as annoyances, but as opportunities. That's where the profit is.
Taking responsibility.
Totally. Taking responsibility for the problems in your business or even your life, it's actually liberating. Because if you're responsible, you have the power to fix it.
And who you spend time with. That plays a big role too, doesn't it? Your environment.
Oh, massively. The data is pretty clear here. Studies show if you have more friends earning over $100,000,
yeah,
your own chances of earning more go up by about 10%. And you're likely to invest more too, like 3-5% more.
Wow. So your network really influences your net worth.
It's contagious, right? Like hang out with CrossFitters all the time, you're probably going to get fitter. Hang out with people who party constantly.
Yeah.
Well, your environment shapes you.
Even the small stuff matters, like awkward conversations about money with friends.
Definitely. Those micro decisions like saying, hey, let's maybe do something less expensive tonight, or being clear about splitting bills they feel awkward in the moment.
Super awkward sometimes.
But they add up to macro financial success. And often, just being vulnerable and honest about your financial goals, it actually builds empathy and makes those friendships stronger.
Okay, so an environment, friends. That leads us straight into our closest relationships. Yeah. How does money play out in dating and partnerships?
Right. Well, first, just a fun little economic indicator our sources mentioned, the lipstick theory.
Lipstick theory? What's that?
It's the idea that when the economy gets tough, women tend to buy more affordable luxuries like lipstick or beauty products because they're cutting back on big-ticket items.
Interesting. Are we seeing that now?
Apparently, yeah. There's been a noticeable spike in beauty sales recently. Kind of a little signal about how people are feeling and spending.
Huh. Okay, beyond lipstick, what about the actual financial impact of having a partner?
It's pretty significant, according to the data. Married couples, on average, tend to earn about 30% more over their careers.
30% more income.
And their net worth. Almost 3 times higher than single individuals, on average.
Whoa. 3 times. That's huge.
It is. Now, obviously, this isn't about shaming singles or saying everyone must partner up. But purely from a financial health perspective, prioritizing finding a compatible life partner can be a major advantage.
And for men specifically.
Our sources suggest that for many men, settling into a stable, committed one-woman life, as they phrase it, actually frees up a lot of mental energy and focus.
Which they can then channel into
their careers, their businesses. Less distraction, more focus.
Okay, powerful stats. But what about when incomes aren't equal? Especially now, with women's incomes rising faster in many cases. That creates challenges, right?
It definitely creates a dynamic worth talking about.
Yeah.
There's this data point, again, from the sources that something like 64% of the women surveyed said they wouldn't date a man who earns less.
64%. Wow.
And men.
Men, generally speaking, don't seem to care nearly as much about a woman's income level when choosing a partner.
So you've got women earning more, but also preferring partners who earn at least as much. That sounds like a mismatch waiting to happen. It does create a potential bottleneck, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's also fascinating is that the data doesn't show that income similarity actually leads to happier or wealthier relationships.
So earning the same isn't the key.
Apparently not. The advice is more about finding someone who plays a different game, someone whose values, goals, and strengths complement yours, rather than just mirroring them.
Complementary, not identical.
Exactly. And for ambitious women, the sources talk about navigating this carefully, being ambitious without unintentionally demasculating men, as they put it, or coming across as overly critical.
Tricky balance.
It is. It boils down to understanding fundamental relationship dynamics. Often, men prioritize feeling respected, and women prioritize feeling loved. Getting those core needs met is crucial.
Okay. What about those really touchy subjects, like prenups or joint bank accounts?
The sources are pretty blunt on prenups. Always sign one.
Always. No exceptions.
That was the strong advice. And it's not framed as distrust. It's framed as forcing you to have the really hard, important conversations before you get married.
Like what?
Like your vision for the future, how you handle money disagreements, values, compromise. The prenup process makes you hash that stuff out.
So the conversation is the point, almost more than the document itself.
In many ways, yes. And same goes for bank accounts, joint versus separate. The specific structure matters less than the conversation around it.
The conversation about?
Trust, spending habits, communication, financial goals, individual autonomy versus shared resources. You have to talk about that openly, regardless of how the accounts are set up.
Makes sense. Historically, marriage was kind of a business contract.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And legally, it still is a contract with the government, essentially.
So what about actually working with your spouse? Like in the same business? Good idea. Bad idea.
Well, the sources acknowledge a personal bias here. One speaker felt there was nothing better than having a spouse deeply understand and be involved in their work.
But there's always a but.
But they also admit the first year of marriage and the first year of working together are often incredibly hard. Friction is almost inevitable.
Like physics, yeah. 2 objects too close.
Exactly. They gave examples, though, of how it can work well, like one spouse handling investments while the other handles operations, or Jay Shetty and his wife Roddy having distinct roles in their ventures.
So clear roles and leveraging strengths.
Yes, and trust. It also connects back to that idea of complementary skills.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Rad from Tinder was mentioned. He found similarity isn't always best. Sometimes a visionary needs an executor in life and in business.
Complementary roles again. Okay. Fascinating stuff on relationships. Let's pivot back to the individual investor. Someone's just starting out. Maybe they've saved up $1,000. Where do they even begin?
Okay, stage 1, according to our sources. Forget stocks, forget bonds for a second. Stage 1, invest in you.
Invest in yourself.
Skills, knowledge, learning. Especially skills that are future-proof, that AI can't easily replicate. Your own capacity has unlimited upside, and it compounds over time. It's the single best asset you have.
Okay, so learn this. Got it. After that, what's stage 2 for the average person?
Stage 2, simple, diversified index funds. Specifically, something tracking the S&P 500.
Why index funds?
Because trying to beat the market, trying to pick individual stocks better than the professionals, it's incredibly hard, bordering on impossible for most people. Don't even try.
So keep it simple.
Keep it simple, keep it low cost. Use platforms like Vanguard. They often have zero fees on index funds. They offer diversified portfolios based on your age, your risk tolerance, maybe like 60% stocks, 40% bonds. Wealthfront is another good option mentioned.
And that mixed stocks and bonds, that's diversification.
Exactly. Stocks are basically betting on companies growing over time. That's your potential upside. Bonds are more like fixed income, like clipping coupons. They provide stability. They balance out the risk of stocks. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Crucial point here, too, about inflation, right? If you don't invest,
you're losing money. That $100 bill from the 70s, it buys maybe $25 worth of stuff today. Inflation eats away at cash.
So investing isn't optional if you want to grow wealth.
It's essential. Aim for at least 10% of your after-tax income. Automate it. Treat it like a bill, a need, not a nice to have.
Okay, 10% minimum, automated. Got it. What comes after index funds? The more advanced stages.
Stage 3 gets into things like private equity, maybe alternative investments.
Like what?
Could be direct real estate investing, commodities like timber, maybe complex stuff like equity options or warrants.
Options and warrants. Sounds complicated.
It is complicated. And here's a big warning from the sources. This generation has kind of gamified stock investing, especially options.
Yeah, you see it all over social media.
Right, making it seem fun and easy. But trying to day trade or use options without deep expertise, it's like trying to perform brain surgery after watching a YouTube tutorial. Seriously dangerous for your wealth.
Okay, point taken. Very risky. So what's the ultimate stage? Stage 4?
Stage 4. Become the company they invest in.
Meaning?
Buying a business outright. Or raising money, building your own successful company that attracts investment. That's the pinnacle for many entrepreneurs.
Gotcha. Okay, shifting focus slightly. Where do people just waste money? What are the big money pits our sources see?
The biggest one, spending money on looking rich instead of being rich.
Keeping up with the Joneses, online edition.
Totally. They use the example of Coachella. You see influencers there. They're often paid to go get free tickets, free clothes. It's their job.
Right.
But then you have average attendees. Apparently 64% use those buy now, pay later services just for the tickets.
Wow, going into debt for a festival ticket.
Yeah. Racking up credit card debt for a few Instagram posts that disappear in a week, it's buying into a manufactured image.
So don't believe the hype online.
Please don't. Real millionaires. Our sources say they mostly don't obsess about money itself. They care about winning the game, learning, solving problems.
Money is just a tool.
An amoral tool. It just amplifies whatever's already inside you, good or bad. But the knowledge you gain, the skills you build, the relationships, that can't be taken away. That's the real wealth.
Man, we have covered a ton of ground today. Seriously.
Yeah.
From like the absolute basics, why your credit card isn't always the enemy.
Right, if used wisely.
To navigating this kind of crazy market, building a smarter career path, thinking about money and relationships, and then how to actually invest for the long haul. It really feels like a masterclass in reframing money.
Yeah, seeing it less as this scary obstacle and more as, well, a language you can learn, a game you can play strategically.
Exactly, a game with intention.
And stepping back, the big theme across all of this is active engagement.
Yeah.
You can't just bury your head in the sand about finances or your career.
No passive approach.
No. And we talked about that idea of hair on a deal.
Yeah.
Those opportunities that maybe look a little risky or complicated on the surface, so most people avoid them.
Right, the messy deals.
Yeah. But that's often where the real value is hidden. Remember that stat. More small businesses actually close than open each year in the U.S.
Wow. Why is that?
It's not necessarily a lack of opportunity. It's often because people aren't willing to tackle those slightly hairy, slightly uncomfortable deals or problems. They shy away from the perceived risk.
Okay, that really brings it home. Yeah. Which leads to a final thought, maybe a challenge for you, our listener. In a world where, let's be honest, most people prefer to avoid financial discomfort, avoid that feeling of risk. What's the hairy deal in your life right now?
Good question.
Maybe it's having that difficult money talk with your partner. Maybe it's finally quantifying your value at work and asking for that raise. Maybe it's making your first strategic investment, even if it feels scary. What's that slightly uncomfortable, slightly hairy thing that, deep down, you need to bravely embrace to get to your next level of grace, your next level of financial fluency.
Something to chew on.
Definitely something to chew on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you feel more empowered, not just to understand the language of money, but to start speaking it.
Yeah, put it into practice.
Until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep growing.